This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Stories, The True and the Fictional. We have a awesome guest coming up. The first time we're having a children's author on. How do you feel about that, Ryan?
Oh, pretty good, mate. Living the dream. I was hoping you were going to ask me how I was doing and I was going to steal your line and, living the dream. No, I think it's pretty good. But we need a bit of variety. It's been mostly, fantasy and stuff for the last few interviews. So it'd be good to have a bit of variety, I think.
Variety is good. And so before we bring her in, just remember to check out our sponsors, Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns. They've got some great books. I've got some great books right there behind her. They're my books. So links in the show notes, guys. But now that the promo is out of the way, Amy Freund, is that how we pronounce your name?
Yes, you got it right. Good job.
Right. There you go. How are we?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me, guys. How are you?
I'm not going to say it, Ryan.
Go on, say it.
Living the dream?
Living the dream. Jamie says it every time anyone asks him how he is on the podcast. He always says living the dream. So
I even do it at work. And I realised I do it lots at work because the guy said, "Oh, how you going?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, and he looked at me and went, "Living the dream?" I went, I don't have to say it anymore.
I used to have a guy at my old work where if you said hello, he'd go, "Good, thanks." And I knew he'd do it as a joke, but every time I'd say, it trips you up because, it ruins the, the flow.
Well, maybe he's an NPC.
Yeah. That'd be right.
Well, the amount of times
Shout out to John.
The amount of times that people, in you serving you food and stuff like that, and they enjoy, and I've accidentally said, "Oh, you too,"
Yeah.
They're just at work and slaving, and they probably go.
I work nights, as Ryan would know. So I knocked up at 11 o'clock last night and because it was still 30 degrees. I got a cheeky McFlurry on the way home.
Yeah.
And then the girl behind the counter was like, "Have a good day." And we're going it's night, but sure.
It's nighttime, but that's fine.
It's programmed into their responses at McDonald's. Yeah. They're just so used to saying it, they just say it.
Yeah.
Yes. I used to work at KFC and I'd have to wear this stupid badge that said, "Remind me to smile." Oh. And the amount of guys would be like, "Oh, and remember to smile." And I'd be like, "Yeah, next."
Yeah.
Move.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might know this, Ryan. There was a place, I don't know if it was China or Japan or somewhere, where there was a McDonald's where it says your meal's free if we don't smile or something. Well, it was something like that. It was, I'd have to verify it, but I'm pretty sure.
The pressure.
And that would just drive you insane.
You could just see them smiling constantly, but the sweat's running down their heads. And
yeah.
It's that'd be good promotion for that new horror movie, Smile. They just constantly
the
go to Macca's in China or Japan. There you go.
That's it. Before we get too
we're
far
all
ahead,
living the dream.
Before we get too far ahead, because this happened on our last interview. The question I've got to ask is, who is Amy Freund?
Yes. Okay. Hello. It's me. So I am a writer, sort of by day, and designer, and then I also run tea workshops. So I kind of have a lot of weird things that I enjoy doing, but mainly it's in the creative area. So I used to do ghostwriting for a lot of brands. So some of the ones I can see in your background, actually, I'm like, yep, did a little bit of ghostwriting for some of them. And then, and then I sort of decided that I really wanted to do my own thing and kind of get my name out there. So started to write, pitched it around, took a hot minute, as it does in books. And then, so now that's where I'm going. And then I also work as a designer at a show bag company. So that's my other side of my life.
So coolest profession ever. I'm just
Yes.
Mm.
A lot of fun. And
So
I design the toys in the crane machines, which is also good fun.
I'm not going to lie because I watched your interview with Elle Hackney,
Oh, yep.
and as soon as she said you do the claw toys thing, that was the number one thing I wanted to
Yes.
get you on for. I'm not going to lie. And then I was like, oh, kids book, that's cool too.
Yes, exactly. Kids book, yeah, crane
Yeah,
toys.
because it is our child. Do we have to come to you with our complaints about the show bags now? Because they're a lot different from when me and Ryan grew up. Like it's not
It's
just the
really
sizes, it's the contents, it's everything.
well, do you know what really surprised me when I started working here was how much we're putting into show bags now. Like there's lots of different like different brands as well. But the ones that I'm doing for kids, I was like, man, they're getting like a hot present. Like this
Yeah.
actually is some really good stuff. Because when
Yeah.
I remember what we used to get, it was like one and done. Whereas now, like I was doing a Ninja Turtle one, like TMNT, we call it. And I was
Yes,
like,
I'm
man, this,
listening.
I'm like packing this. Yeah. It is
That's
fun.
my jam. You have me at TMNT.
Yeah.
Um, I went. It was a place called Australia's Wonderland. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was up in Sydney, and it closed down probably 20. Was it 15 years ago? 20 years ago, Ryan? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I knew someone that went to the auction and basically got as much stuff as he could and put it in his house. Like he had a chandelier out of the old wagon and
Oh
all
my
this cool stuff.
God.
But I went there
Yeah.
when I was about 7 or 8 and met the Ninja Turtles. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's
And I
sick.
still have those photos.
Yes. See, at my old work, we did a lot with turtles, and they came to our stand at Toy Fair last year, and so we all got kind of poses, and then we got gifted like the turtles van, so it was like a full wrap, the purple van, yeah, which was really cool, and like a big giant, life-size turtle. They used to I'd walk into work, it'd greet you, sort of thing, and keep going. But I actually missed the turtles phase, which is a real shame because I was making these books for it and I felt bad. I'm going, who's Shredder? And my friend's rolling his eyes. He's like, what are you talking about? So I'm sorry I missed it. It wasn't my jam.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, it is kind of dying off them because I grew up with it and then I watched it change and I watched it change companies and then the creators had a falling out and they only work on it one at a time. But then they did this really cool new comic book called The Last Ronin, where it's the turtles and they're grown up. And
oh, yes.
only one is left. And yes, I have a sign somewhere behind me. There's a signed copy.
That's
by
awesome.
Kevin Eastman. But then we're getting in like essentially an R-rated Ninja Turtle movie for adults. So,
did you like the new one? The one that
I
came out last year?
hated it.
Oh, really? I never saw it.
Like,
hated it.
Well, I'm insane when it comes to turtles. I just love them so much, and I'm like, it's got to be done a certain way, and it was just bad. I had a free ticket, and I wanted to walk out.
Oh, it's so sad when that happens. It's like, don't ruin my childhood,
But they did.
I'm sorry about that. That's not good.
Anyway, this isn't the Ninja Turtle podcast, although it could be. Yeah, so we like to do some icebreakers. We like to keep it, funny and fresh. And although we get a lot of serious answers sometimes.
Yeah.
But feel free to make us laugh and all of that. So Ryan, why don't you take the first one?
Okay, I'm going with the first one again. Excellent. Okay, so we do encourage selfish answers with this question. So if you could get rid of one thing in the world, what would it be?
Do you know, I was thinking about this last night and I'm like, I had a really good answer. And then today I was like, God, what was it again that I would get rid of? I mean, there's a lot of things that I could get rid of because there's a lot of things that really annoy me. Oh my God. Now I've just drawn a blank because it's a hard question, right? To answer, like, what would I actually just go done? I would say early mornings, actually, let's be honest. Like, I'm an 11 o'clock start type of human. So I would prefer if the world started that way, but it just doesn't. Like, we're doing, reels at work for Christmas, and mine is that person that says they start at, 8:30 but rocks up at 9 because I just can't get anywhere on time. I'm terrible. So definitely the mornings.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I can, as I said, I rolled out of bed 5 minutes before this interview because I completely forgot about it. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, it's still, See, I used to, before I went to hospital, I used to be an early morning person. I used to be up at 6
Mm.
and, I would, start work at 9, but I'd be up at 6. I do a bit of gaming before work and then,
Yeah.
if I go. But now that I'm not working at the moment, I stay up later, so I don't go to
Yeah.
bed till 12:30, 1 o'clock, because I stay up gaming or I stay up watching things or whatever. So I find I get woken up at 8:30 in the morning. So to me, that is a late morning.
Yeah.
Then I generally takes about an hour for my pain in the bed to kick in, and then I'm up and I'm ready for the day at 9:30. So 9:30 compared to 6 is pretty
Pretty good.
different. Yeah. So I mean. Yeah, I'm usually up and about by 9:30, but I can definitely see this getting used to it. But I know when I go back to work, it's all going to change and break my heart.
Yeah, it is hard. I don't know. I feel like the world is wired to be up early. So we sort of have to roll in. Like my whole family, we're all terrible actually, except for my mum. She's the only one that is actually good at being up early and on time. The rest of us are like, surely, we can work around, just work late, stay late. But no, it's not the way it works.
I hate you both. I'm up like when the sun's up. So
Oh,
I went to bed at what, 12:15 last night, and I was up at like 6:30.
oh my God.
And
Have you
it's
got
just
like a
like,
good body clock? You just can't sleep.
no, it's just like the sun's up, I'm up. That's how it's always worked. You
Wow.
know, like So I don't know. I won't doze off during this interview. No. Yeah. So
Hopefully not.
no. So would you want to just adjust the sun that it only comes up at 11, or
Oh, good
like,
question, actually, because I'd like the world. I think I'd still like it to rise at the same time, but everyone doesn't really expect anything to happen till later. Like I
yeah,
did a semester abroad in Italy, and I loved it because everyone was having their siesta and just be like, okay, well we've got about an hour before we're going to go to bed, and then we'll come back. Like so, get your stuff done. I loved it because I'd be like, okay, I'll just see you after siesta. Like I won't bother to be up before that because I'm not going to make it. You know.
even the criminals are lazy over there.
Exactly. No one
Uh,
gets things started till later in the day. Much preferred.
awesome. Well, let's move on to our second question. What's something that's on your bucket list?
So I am desperate to go to Antarctica. I would love to go. I've looked it up so many times because I thought you could come from Australia. I'm like, surely, I mean, we're right there. Like, surely it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But no, you have to go all the way to South America. You got to go right down the bottom. Then you got to get the boat over from there. So it's been something that I've just been wanting to do for forever and ever. And actually, I wrote a middle grade series that's based in Antarctica because I'm just obsessed. So I thought, well, if it ever gets published, maybe then I can do like I don't know, book tour and go around and go there is something fun. But yeah, desperate to go.
Get a photo with a penguin.
I've just
Yes.
done. I'm doing research in Antarctica. Wrote it off for tax purposes, and
Yes.
as part of work.
Exactly. See? And I looked up like the closest area you can get to in Australia is Macquarie Island. So that's sort of where my middle grade series takes place. And that you can get a boat, but you have to go to New Zealand first and then get the boat, even though it's part of Tassie.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe I could go there. Like I looked that up and they do expeditions. It's really cool. But that's about, again, like over 10 grand. So I'm like, oh, sometime soon.
Yeah. So maybe the world really is flat if you can only get to that part from one side.
I know, it's bizarre. Like,
What?
why can't we just get there? I know you can get a flight, like they fly over Antarctica. My cousin's friend actually went with her grandpa years ago for New Year's. He booked it and then he ended up having like a medical emergency while they were flying over Antarctica. So he was fine, but she didn't even end up seeing it because she was like attending to him on the plane. But I know you can do that, which would also be cool.
Maybe there's a lot of sea pirates down there or something.
I know, like just kind of hanging out, digging for treasure.
No, someone's got to investigate that.
Exactly. Like, why does it take so long to get there? Why is it so hard?
Yeah. Get on it, people. Get on it.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is very judgmental. So
Love
I judge a lot on this one. And it can also determine how quickly this interview will be over or not. So just basically give us two answers. So The question is, what is the greatest sitcom ever made? And if the greatest one that's ever made is not your favorite, what is your favorite?
See, this is hard because I have like a 10-way split. So I would say if I'm going like ones that I'll just watch on repeat, it's like Parks and Rec and then also Arrested Development, Schitt's Creek. But then if I want like real brain rot, I'm just going to relax. It's The Nanny, which is so funny because you wouldn't think that that was something that a lot of people enjoy, but I just love it so much.
There's just
Oh,
something unrelaxing about Mr. Sheffield.
I was going to say, like you say relaxing, but then you've got to listen to her voice for
well, that's
half an
the thing.
hour.
You wouldn't think. And like I fall asleep to Brooklyn Nine-Nine because it's just an ultimate for me. But
Yeah.
that's all like murder and stuff. And you think I would get, but I just fall asleep happily to it because it's hilarious and just amazing. So yeah, that was a really hard. I was trying to figure it out yesterday. I'm like, but what's my ultimate? I'm like, I don't know. They're all so good.
Yeah.
I love a sitcom.
It's a tough question. That's why Ryan started giving people, multiple options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you all love Seinfeld? Are you Seinfeld people?
I do. I don't love it as much as most people do. Like, I don't hate it. I don't, I appreciate it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I haven't watched it all the way through. I've watched. I do have the box set of the whole complete series. I think yeah, just it's one of those shows you don't have to really watch in order.
Yeah.
So, if it comes on TV, I can just watch it because,
Yeah.
it's not something you need to watch in order. But like I can appreciate the humor and I can appreciate what it did for sitcoms at the time.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider it the greatest of all time.
Oh, see, I feel like we're in good company because I don't like it. Unpopular opinion, very unpopular opinion for me. I just could never get into it. Whereas I like a bit more fast paced. I don't know, maybe a little bit more slapstick even. It's just not my jam,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I can completely agree. I love The Office.
Oh, yep.
That's my big one that I can rewatch, once a year. But I'm a massive fan of the British comedy. Like I love the In-Betweeners. I love Ricky
Yes.
Gervais. Pretty much everything he does, I love. Um,
The IT crowd.
British. Sorry.
Yeah.
The
IT crowd.
IT crowd.
Oh yeah, the IT crowd for sure, 100%. I've watched that. Actually came onto that later in life. I only found it, I think about 6 years ago,
Oh,
and
really?
which was good because I got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I rewatch that every year, and that's a good thing about the UK shows. They're only 6 episodes a season, and they generally
Yes.
only do like 2 or 3 seasons of a
Yeah.
show. So I think the IT crowd we got 3 seasons and a special.
5. I think it was 5
5
seasons.
Oh,
seasons, but
five,
this
yeah,
is
five.
one episode, which killed me because I
Yeah.
love the IT crowd.
Yeah.
That and like What We Do in the Shadows, if you guys have
Yeah.
seen
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
I really like the move, like the Taika Waititi
oh
movie,
yeah,
What We Do in the
yeah.
Shadows. Not a massive fan of the HBO show. Um,
I think you're one or the
I
other.
just haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough of it, but I'm really afraid with what Americans do with good properties because they have a track record of ruining them.
Yeah,
So I'm a bit hesitant to watch it because of how much I actually like the original. Um, I mean,
yeah.
the original was great. You got Taika Waititi, Matt Berry. I mean,
Oh,
what it's just
he's so good in the series. Like Matt
oh
Berry's I love him. Like I loved him since Mighty Boosh. So then when he came,
Mm.
and then when he was in
yeah.
IT crowd, there was in this. I'm like, yes, this is just
Is
so.
he in the series? Is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that might sway me a little bit because I'm a massive like he was just in Fallout.
Oh,
I
yep.
don't know if you saw the show Fallout, but he was in that as the voice of I think it's Claptrap, the
Oh,
robot, and you see him in it for a little bit when they do their time shifts back. How they came across and got him to be the voice of Claptrap, and I just said, that he was in it for about 20 minutes, and I said that's just not enough Matt Berry for me, and I just. But knowing that he's in the series, I might actually jump on and watch it.
well, he's so good in it. He's like one of the main characters, but they sort of use him as the main, really. Like he's just so
Okay.
funny. I love it. I love it for him, really.
And he's not just in it for just like 1 or 2 episodes.
No, it's like the 4 core vampires, and he's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
Okay, cool.
That's your day sorted, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I just got to acquire it, and then I'll be off and running.
All right, the fun one. Let's see if your answer to this question is similar to the other 3 people that we've had on from Melbourne. What is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Do you know, when you showed me this, all I could think about was, have you guys seen South Park? And when Cartman like really wants to go, so I'm pretty sure it's Casablanita, so he puts Butters in the hole and then he thinks it's the apocalypse. I was thinking about that because I don't have a plan, and I feel like I would be like Butters, just having absolutely no clue what to do. 100%. I don't really know. I guess I feel like I wouldn't survive. Like, I just would not do well. Like, I'm not that type of person to kind of be able to escape those sort of things. I'd probably end up hoarding some sort of something stupid like canned food and then just trying to live off that, and I don't know, watching a lot of TV. Well, no, we can't watch TV. I actually have no idea. I am not prepared, which is probably a bit bad.
No, if you want to watch TV, you'd have to be, the olden days, VHS, DVDs,
Yes. DVDs.
a noise generator.
Power? Does power exist?
Oh, there'd be generators.
That's true.
Yeah.
I just
There's
have to watch.
ways.
Yeah, maybe I'll just watch Zombieland a little bit more and kind of get some good tips on how to survive.
Yeah. Find Woody Harrelson, you'll be right.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
What's yours? Do you have a plan?
See, I live in the mountains in a town that's one road in, so I'm kind of pretty set. Like,
You're kind of safe.
Ryan would message me going, I'm dying, and I'd be like, sorry, buddy. I
See you
can't make
later.
it down there. I can't make it down there.
No, I'd message you and say, come to Bunnings, because that's where I am. And I have built my fortress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's getting into Bunnings. I'll just, even human or zombie, I would just be like Bill from The Last of Us and just not have any contact with anyone and just live
Yeah.
my life and
Yeah.
not share anything with anyone, except for close friends, maybe.
Maybe I'd try and get to an island or something.
That's usually the way, because they can't swim. I mean, they collectively walk across the bottom of the ocean, apparently, in one of the movies, but
it's like Pirates of the Caribbean vibes.
Land of the Dead, they did do that, yeah.
Yeah. No, and look, if push comes to shove, I do have a complete set of Ninja Turtle weapons on my wall, so I can just go last Ronin, and
You'll be good.
I'll probably chicken out last minute because no one knows what they'll do until they confront.
I did learn a little bit of how to use a sword when I was in Japan. Not that I'd be good at it, but maybe I'd go get some swords or something and go hide on an island, learn how to make a coconut, I don't know, house or something. Like literally, I was thinking about it. Like, I would just be the first one gone. I'd probably become a zombie. That's my apocalypse plan, is just becoming one. Hopefully that's not the same as all the other Melbourne people.
No. I think, what was it? Joshua Walker said he wanted to just chill out and brew beer because he's a brewer.
Oh, yeah. That's a good plan.
Yeah.
All right, the last one. So Elon Musk calls you up and offers you to test drive his brand new electric time machine. What do you do and where do you go?
So I studied hieroglyphics at uni. It's the weirdest course ever. I cried most days because it was really hard. So I feel like I owe myself to go back to ancient Egypt and actually like find out if the aliens did help them build the pyramids or if that is all bullshit, because we were pretty much told if you wrote that in your essays, you would just get a straight fail. But I'm like, but how did they do it?
Maybe they're the aliens. Maybe they're descendants from the aliens and they don't want it to come out, and that's why they'll fail you if you...
We don't know. That's the whole thing. So I'd love to go back to that time. I'd probably like to sort of subtly find my way through society so I could see actually what was going on. Like, maybe I become a scribe or something, because I can sort of remember how to read and write it. Like, I tried to purge it afterwards because it was honestly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So I probably go back there, and then I want the real information, like what actually happened. but I would like to go to that point, but I also want to go to like Cleopatra's time because I just think it's hilarious all the stuff that happened with like her and Caesar and this and that. And I feel like that would be kind of a good moment to witness. I know a lot of people would probably say ancient Egypt as well. I just feel like it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
No, I think the only person on record on our podcast that said go to ancient Egypt, I think it was he wanted to steal the body of Elvis Presley and put it in one of the tombs.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so smart.
So they, I can't remember which one was covered, whatever it was, like last century. But like put it in that one. So
that's actually such a good idea, and then let it get unveiled, and everyone be like,
"What the?" Yeah. Shout out to Martin Kearns.
Maybe I'll take like Disney. Like maybe I'll take Walt Disney and do that too. It's kind of a good idea. I'll piggyback on that. That sounds like a good time.
Walt Disney. Yeah. Why not? I mean, isn't he still frozen or something?
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it just his head or is it actually like his whole?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
I heard. You know what? I'm gonna live it right now.
Yeah.
You have the power of Google.
Because I was watching Daria this week. Like, I just love Daria, rewatching it. And they were doing like the game, like what they take somewhere. And it was Walt Disney's like frozen head, blah, blah. And I'm like, is it just his head or is it his whole body?
No, okay, so it's a hoax.
Ah!
It says, no, Walt Disney is not frozen.
Damn it. Who's frozen? We'll take one of them.
Elsa. No. See what I did there? Even though I hate that movie.
Me too. I know. Unpopular opinion again. It's one of my least favorite Disneys.
Okay. This is my most controversial statement that isn't controversial.
Yeah.
Tangled was superior.
I was just about to say Tangled is my favorite, my ultimate. Like, I love Tangled, and
that was the last one where Alan Menken was involved, like doing all the music.
So good.
Because Alan Menken did the music for like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and all that stuff. Alan Menken is the shit. Back on sitcoms, have you watched a show called Gallivant?
No.
Have you got Disney Plus?
Yes.
You know what you're doing when this is over.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, I'm adding this to my list.
It's happening. Only 18 episodes.
Okay.
Two seasons. But it is an more adult Disney kind of live action comedy, medieval, full of Disney songs with more adult themes and adult jokes.
I love that.
And Ryan's face says it all. Like, I was obsessed with that show. It's so funny.
See, that sounds like my type of thing. I love that. And I'm so glad I have a fellow Tangled lover, because when where I used to work, my friend and I would always have this fight. So he'd be like, yeah, but did Tangled get a second? And I said, yeah, but Frozen, it was just, everyone loved it for, I don't understand why. So then, of course, there's going to be a number 2. I'm like, Tangled is underrated and it was so good.
But I'm pretty sure Tangled got a short film after.
It did get a series as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I always say. I'm like, but it got a series and it's still good. It didn't get completely, as you say, like just oversaturated.
Yeah. Virtual 5. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like either of them, so I'm sorry.
Well, you don't strike me as a Disney fan.
Yes, somehow I can't see that as something you'd enjoy.
I do like old school Disney. Aladdin and the Lion King, the original cartoons, are my favorite Disney of all time, and I can still rewatch them to this day.
Yes.
And I still refuse to watch the live action ones.
I got forced to watch it, and it was in a really crappy cinema. Every time I go to Hoyt's, the cinema cuts out. Like, I think I've been there twice without it cutting out. And
what the hell?
It was one of those moments where I just, you know what, I'll be the guy that yells out something stupid. So it cut out like 45 minutes towards the end, and I just went, don't worry, we all know how it ends. It's bad. It was really bad. Because there's no facial expression.
Yeah, that's what I can't understand. Like with, the animal, like I can understand when they did, like I prefer Beauty and the Beast live action to cartoon.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast live action was good. I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Whereas I haven't actually seen the Lion King one, and it's because I love Timon and Pumbaa so much, and I feel like a lot of their humor is in exactly the way that their facial
Animated.
features, like
Yeah.
all of that animation, I think is really a big part of it. So yeah, I'm the same. I haven't seen them yet. I mean, I will
Don't no,
because
just don't try. You don't. I literally laughed when Mufasa died because it looked hilarious because the cat was going meow, doing the meow face and going no, but I'm going like
oh.
it's a cat going meow. You
See,
know?
that's the thing. It's all in the eyes. Like
Yeah,
they spend so long learning how to
yeah,
do those animations. I think
yeah.
yeah.
Did you see? I think it was on Netflix. Andy Serkis did a Jungle Book movie called Mowgli, and it
I
was
saw the ads for it, but I haven't seen it.
it's live
No.
action. It's live action, but they've animated the faces a little bit more so they get some expressions. And I'm going, that's cool. That's better
That was
than
good.
the Disney Jungle Book was all right. It wasn't horrible. I mean, it was
Yeah, I liked didn't they use like Christopher Walken or
yeah.
whatever for the that
Yeah.
was funny.
I
I love his voice, so I thought that was
Christopher
hilarious.
Walken
Yeah.
sing it. Yeah, that was
That,
just having him sing as a monkey. That was just great.
yeah, that was really funny. But yeah, I'm the same. I haven't seen too many of them.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, they just jumped on the bandwagon too quickly and went, oh, the first one worked. Let's keep going.
Let's do it all.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
I think
They Beauty and the Beast did so well, and for people like me and Jamie who were, not the traditional audience, but I actually went with my wife and I really enjoyed it,
enjoyed it. Yeah.
and thought it was amazing, and because it was obviously her choice, but it was just,
Yeah.
just as good, if not better, as the animated one. And
Yeah.
then they had started announcing these things. I'm like, okay, cool, it's going to be good because Beauty and the
No,
Beast was good. And then
no,
I haven't seen The Lion King, but I've
no.
heard nothing but bad stuff about it from trusted sources. I haven't seen Aladdin because, again, those two are my favorites, and I refuse to let Disney ruin
Yeah.
it. No intention of seeing The Little Mermaid because I did really enjoy the animated one of that, and I just don't want to be ruined by that. But no interest in seeing the Mufasa
No.
prequel thingy. Yeah, it's unfortunate because Disney's losing a lot of money with a lot of nostalgic. I mean, they make these movies to for something to do, but also to prey on that nostalgia. But they're
Mm.
losing that with
Yeah.
the true Disney fans of because the last have been so bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like I saw Aladdin, it's not the same without Robin Williams,
No, it's
It's one
not.
of the, like no, I mean, like Will Smith was a genie, and you can't beat Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He was so. I
Yeah.
mean, they animated. I'm pretty sure they animated one of his just one of his comedy things to show him
Yeah.
how perfect he would be
Yeah.
because he didn't want to do and then he was perfect, and so of course that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's hard without him, and I actually didn't mind the Little Mermaid one because I wasn't sure because it's one of my ultimate favorites. And I was a
Yeah.
bit like, oh, I don't know how you can get it because it's the underwater but actually they did a really good job on that one, which I was like, good.
Yeah.
So they're probably the only two I like,
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid one. I didn't love the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how does the underwater in Little Mermaid compare to the underwater in Aquaman?
I went to Kualoa Ranch last year in Hawaii, and they were talking about when they were filming Aquaman there
Yeah.
and everything. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that was there. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Then I was trying to pick it out. I'm like, do I recognize things? Like, where can I see things?
That was another thing. Aquaman, the first one was absolutely amazing, and the second one was
Yeah.
very mediocre. Very, it's like it's clear because Disney gave up. Or not, Disney gave up because they're doing the whole new James Gunn universe, and they just like we have to do this film just to get it over and done with. But I mean, I don't. Yeah, the first one was just absolute. We got a friend who was really, really into Aquaman, and when we saw it, I reckon I truly believe he had a tear rolling down his face because he absolutely loved it that much.
Yeah.
And we all saw it, I think, on Boxing Day when it came
Yeah.
out on that year.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the second one was just. I
Yeah.
wasn't excited by the trailer, and then when it came out on streaming, I watched it, and it was just like I was on my phone every so often, and it was just very mediocre. It was just really, Really
Sucks when that
disappointing.
happens. I didn't see it. I saw The Flash. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, The
Did
Flash
you?
I really liked. I saw that at the
It was
movies,
really
and I thought
good.
that was great.
I thought that was so funny. I loved that. But I also love the Supermans that they did. Like, I was so cut when they took away, because I think Henry Cavill's just one of the best. Like,
Versus
I'm
life.
obsessed with him. And I'm so sad that he's not. I still can't really get over that. I was pretty and then they teased it, at the end of the. Do you remember? And they had Aquaman, and they had. Do you know? So I was looking for it, like I was ready, and then when they announced that they were cutting all of that, I was a bit like, damn, because I was ready for that next moment.
Yeah, we are Henry Cavill tragics.
I think I
Yes, I
went
love
to
him.
Flash on the last week it was in cinemas. And I felt like it was a movie I wanted to see in the cinemas because, of all,
Yes.
and it was so good. And it was even kind of sad that knowing that it was all of this was going to come to an end. With how they said at the end of Black Adam, at the end of Black Adam, they set it up with Henry Cavill coming back as Superman.
Yes.
And then at the end of the Flash, we had Aquaman there. So that's like they had plans, and then they still put out these movies with these scenes in them, even though we all know that nothing is going to come from those.
Yeah, I think that was what was so hard. And then I was like, oh, surely there's a way that, and then it just became more and more like a no. But if you guys like Henry Cavill, do you like the Sherlock, Enola Holmes movies?
I haven't seen them.
I liked the first one, wasn't entirely a fan of the second.
Yeah, I loved the first one. I thought it was a really good sort of addition, because I actually really like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh, yeah. Do you hear they're doing a third?
Right.
They're doing a third? Do you know they're doing a third one? Yep.
Oh, I loved
Finally.
them.
Yeah, that was great.
I thought they were great. I watched them if I just want, because my guilty pleasure is like action, like crappy 80s action movies.
Yeah.
But also things like that. So I was sick maybe like 2 months ago, and I rewatched. I'm like, oh, still iconic, still love them. But no, I thought it was a really good addition to that. And then the second one, it didn't have maybe the magic of the first.
No.
Yeah. I still thought it was I was like, okay, I'm still happy. Like I'm still watching this and enjoying it. But the first one was just so good.
Yeah.
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 No, we on it because we do 2 episodes. We do a more interview episode, and then we do like one where we just talk nonsense. And on the one where we talk nonsense, there is a segment called Appreciating Cavill. So it's just, we love Henry Cavill. I
love it. So good.
He's great. Anyway, that's the very longest icebreakers we've ever done.
Sorry about that.
Don't. I think at this stage you're probably going to beat Martin Kearns with our longest running episode.
No.
It just shows that it's a good episode. That's all.
We got a lot to talk about.
This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between 2 ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today.
My dog is being crazy. He keeps jumping on me, so I'm just going to sit him here. This is my dog, by the way. This is
hello. What's your name?
His name is Roman, and he has been jumping on me ever since we spoke about Tangled. He must have heard me get very excited. So I'm just going to have to sit him here to shut him up for 5 minutes.
We're animal lovers. I'm missing my 2 cats at the moment that I haven't seen for about 5 months. So any animals are greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's a mini foxy, but he's a bit of a sook. So he's like a forever child. Aren't you right? And he has an overbite, so he was cheap. Where's his
he's got a little buck teeth.
Can you see your little buck teeth? And he chipped one on a rock because he likes to eat rocks. He's one of those.
He's like the dog from the meme, the dog with the overbite.
Yes, you always know that. I wanted to call him Sid the Sloth, like Sid after Sid the Sloth, but it got a no. So he's Roman, which is still good because he's our Roman Empire. So
there you go. Awesome. Well, look, before we dive into all things about your book, let's get the claw stuff out of the way because,
Yes.
yeah, do you have inside information? Are they rigged? Are the claw machines rigged?
Do you know, I actually still don't know this information because I'm in the sort of creative side.
Yeah.
And what happens is once we make the plush, it goes to the sales and then they send it. So then they can actually see if it'll work in the machines because some you literally can't grab or some, So I actually still don't know. It's still something I think about all the time. I'm like, I wonder, is it just that I have bad skill or is there something else going on?
Yeah.
But
well, I to this date, I only know one person that has ever won something.
yeah, see, a girl at work, she is like a claw genius. She's on the creative side and she came to work with all these cute bag clips. I was like, where did you get them all? She went, oh, I went like last night to Million Life or one, the pink, everything's pink. And she's like, yeah, and I was just looking and, I kind of picked the ones and she won all these toys. I was like, how? I've never won a toy on a claw machine, but.
There must be some claw society or something like,
how they do it. And because I used to win a lot of the chocolates, the chocolate grab.
Yeah.
That was quite a good one. I feel like you could get some lollies on that. But an actual toy I'm shocking at. Still haven't won.
We us winners, we can't talk about claw society. You'll have to cut that out of the
this was secrecy.
I've won quite a few things. I remember the first time I took my wife to Tea Gardens, which is where my dad lives. We went to the pub for lunch and there was a claw machine. There was a Batman plushie in there.
Oh.
And Batman is my thing. I'm a massive Batman fan. So
I love Batman.
I'm gonna get this. And I got it first go. I literally just went bang, bang, bang. Okay, picked it up. And then there's a photo of my wife holding it up. And I got it first go. And there was one near where we used to live at the shopping centre. And every time we go past it, Steph would be like, oh, I want this. And I'd be like, okay. And within 2 or 3 goes, I'd have it. So,
oh my God.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's, well, you can't say it's a video game. It's because me and Jamie are both massive gamers and it's the coordination and everything like that. And I don't know. It's just, maybe it's like the little math equation template goes off in my head and I calculate the right angle and I don't know.
That would make sense because I'm terrible at maths. So that's probably why. Because honestly, I just don't. Yeah, I've never been able to do it right. And I still wonder, I want to know, like maybe I should ask the question. I've never asked the question. It's like you almost don't want to know.
So Ryan, come clean. Seriously. What's the trick? Come on.
Tell us.
Come on. It's just us. I've turned the recording off. I've turned the recording off.
Okay, cool.
That's okay.
How you do it is, no, I'm not, honestly, I don't know. I just literally, go, it's like I go into a trance kind of thing and I can just go, okay, she wants that one, I'm going to get that one. I want this one, I'm going to get that one. And as I said, not every time is it first go, but it's within 2 to 3 goes max. I never spend more than like $2 or $3 on one of these machines. It just happens. Like I sort of look at both sides before I do it. I stand on the left or right side of the machine, whichever is open, and then I'll stand front on and go, okay, this is roughly where I need to get it to, and then go from there. But there's no trick to it, to be honest with you. It's just luck.
Do you have any missing memories from when you were a child?
I do actually, yeah, quite a few, yeah.
Now, before you went missing, did you try to do claw machines? And then when you came back, did you have the ability suddenly to
do a claw machine?
Actually, yeah, that's true. I could never do claw machines when I was a child, but then there's a gap between 8 and 12, and then suddenly I could come back and do these claw machines. I don't know, maybe it's just coincidence.
Did you attend a special school at some point where the let's just say the headmaster or the founder of the school was a clean-shaven man in a wheelchair that was primarily yellow?
As I said, what happens at Claw Society stays at Claw Society.
All right, okay. I will press it.
I'm getting triggered. I'm getting flashback memories right now as we speak. So I want to finish this podcast before I go into a mental breakdown. That's all.
Before you get taken.
So tell us, Amy, how did you get into designing the toys for the said claw machines?
It's kind of funny. I sort of fell into it a little bit. So I was working as an editor before I sort of got into toys. And yeah, I used to just help doing some of the design, just of like the branded stuff. And then my last job, they sort of asked me to come on and start making books for them. And that was in a toy company. So I kind of started to do that and then sort of dip my toe in different designs and do a bit of freelance. And then that's when I started to freelance with Benson's. And then over time, I moved there at the start of this year and started actually just designing the plush. And it really just came from like, we had a few things that we needed to get done quite quickly. And I was like, yeah, like I'll give it a crack, see how I go. And then it kind of happened. And then it was like, oh, great. Like, do you want to be the plush person? I was like, yeah, that sounds like great fun. I'll be the plush person. So I kind of just sort of jumped into it and sort of fell into it a little bit, I guess, with doing these designs. And a lot of our toys, they kind of go to all different areas, a lot of amusement because we're mainly amusement space. So the games at the shows, but then also a big part of the distribution is in, the cranes. So some of the cranes actually now have exclusive toys where you can only get them in those machines, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So yeah, I kind of don't find that out until I've designed the range and then it gets purchased. It's like, yep, so this is going exclusively, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it kind of happens sort of that way. But yeah, it's been really fun. Like I love all branded stuff. Like when I was an editor, I worked on the branded side, which was all of your pop culture books and things like that. And so going into toys kind of felt like a natural direction because I already knew a lot of the licenses. I already knew how they worked and everything like that. So a new one I've been doing really since I started here was Sanrio. So that's like your Hello Kitties, your cinema rolls, like that. Gudetama, that universe. And that's just gone crazy this year in Australia. I don't know if you've noticed the absolute like trajectory of Sanrio, but it was sort of something where we had like a baseline of interest, I guess, in Hello Kitty. And then this year it's just gone nuts. Like it's everywhere. And I can't make enough stuff because the demand is just huge there. So yeah, I think a lot of I think it is really getting those kind of vending machine areas as well. Like I know Japan has a lot of those and we're sort of following that trend more and more now where we're getting those dedicated spaces. So that's where I think the demand's building. So then we're making more and that's kind of the way it's gone.
Do you have free range to design what you want or do you get given specific themes or?
Yeah, so we've got licenses that we have the ability to create for. And then we also do a lot of our own stuff, but it mainly comes from like what's trending. So my boss is really great at like finger on the pulse. So she'll be like, this is trending for like a generic plush. So that would be a non-branded plush. But for the ones that we have licenses for, we just kind of go deep into, obviously we start with like the core idea and then kind of expand and expand. So we've been doing some really fun stuff. And I think because now we've got a great base of plush for a lot of these brands, we can start having fun with the different ideas and things. So like scented toys or like different costumes and things like that. So it's more like we follow what people want in the market, maybe what they've seen. Like they do a lot of trips overseas. So a lot of like what's trending there will eventually filter to us. We're a little bit behind the times, Australia. It takes us a while to get on the trends. So kind of what's doing really well, maybe in the last year will sort of come up in the next year or two in our market. Yeah.
We are pretty slow in Australia.
Yeah. We're always slow to pick up the trends. That's even like the capybaras. Like I saw this trending maybe 2-3 years ago and I thought this is going to become a thing. Like it needs to happen. And then it sort of exploded over the last year and a bit. It's so funny like that. You can kind of see it coming from a while away.
So is that why you decided to write a book on that? Like you saw in advance, oh, this is going to get popular and then went, aha.
Yeah, well, sort of like I used to play Crossy Road a million years ago, you know, that app game, and they had a capybara as one of the characters. And I'm talking, this is like 2015, 2016. And I was like, what the hell is this animal? And then I looked it up. I'm like, this animal is hilarious. Like, I love this. And so I'd always play as the capybara on my Crossy Road game. And then obviously, like, life moves on. You get over that, you know. And then it suddenly started popping up everywhere. And everyone's like, what's this capybara? And I'm thinking, I love these things. Like I've known about these since forever, but I didn't realize that they were sort of growing in favor. And I could see it happening. And then like there was nothing in the market. I'm like, I want to buy stuff from it. nothing's happening. There's sort of the trajectory is going crazy for it.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, no, I've got to make something of this. So that's kind of where it started. And originally it was, like a going on a bear hunt kind of story. And then I thought, nah, it needs to be a character. Like that kind of came up as I was writing. I'm like, kids like a character. What can I do? And then that's how Amigo sort of came to be. So, yeah. And books are a lot like that. So you'll sort of see it goes kind of like all the apparel and the plush that can come out a lot faster than a book. So you'll probably see a trend happening there before it gets to books just because of the lead times on publishing. So I was sort of excited to see that it was kind of building because I thought, okay, good, it's coming out at a good time because it's been a while in the making. Yeah.
So are you going to make a plush to go with the book?
Do you know, 5 Mile actually, so the publisher, they messaged me about creating one with my work to do like a book and plush promo. So that's in the works. Yes.
Awesome.
I hope it gets in the market. I think it would be hilarious. Like I just love them. And we're starting to do a lot of importing of Capybara plush at my work from UK, different distributors of toys. So I can see that hopefully it's going to start growing. And even at the Melbourne show when I went, they were heaps of Capybara plush going around. So
we could easily, you could easily just take one of them and do a little jacket on him or dress him up,
Yes. Well, exactly. I just think, the ones in the market have sort of like closed eyes or like small eyes. So I want to do the big, cute eyes. And maybe you can be holding like a streamer or some confetti or something, party popper, something that kind of relates to him.
Yeah. Give him the anime eyes, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. We've been doing a lot of charming eyes. So that 2 in the heart, a lot of that happening at work.
Yep. So tell us about the book. Like, what's the story?
Yeah. So Amigo the Capybara is about a very loud and friendly capybara, which is why I called him Amigo because he's everybody's friend, except for his neighbor Miller. He's a very grumpy, very little, big-eared chinchilla, and that sort of came to be because I'm like, who would think that this guy is like the most annoying person? And I was like, some little mouse that just wants to mind her own business. And of course, he's her neighbor. So the whole thing is he just really wants Miller to be his friend. And he doesn't realize that it's because he's loud. He just thinks that he hasn't done something enough to win her over. So he decides to put on a big performance to kind of win her heart. And it all kind of goes wrong. And then when it goes wrong, we realize that Miller is a bit of a troll and she loves it. And then he's like, oh, I can't believe now we're friends, and she's like, I've always liked you, just keep it down. So the story is a little bit about compromise, a bit about friendship and sort of how opposites can still attract in a friendship scenario. So it's just an easy read, something that you can, it's rhyming, something you can read at bedtime. I don't have any really, it's not like a themed book, so it's not going to sort of shove that down your throat. It's more just like a fun story of friendship and kind of compromise.
Sounds like the perfect kids book.
Yeah, it was really fun to write actually, and like it was a nice sort of swap away to be able to have full creative freedom on it because I do work in brands and I always did when I wrote as well when I was doing ghostwriting. You've got parameters that you follow, and that is fun because you have like a brief to creatively fill. But in this one, it was like I could just do what I wanted. So that was really fun. Very freeing.
Yeah. No, I saw a video. You got it in Big W.
Yes. Yeah, it's at Big Dubs, which was very exciting. And it was in the Scholastic catalog, which was probably like my life goal. I never expected a book of mine would be there. So that was really cool to see. So yeah, it's been really fun to kind of go and see it actually in the shops. And someone that came to the book launch on the weekend actually found it online, which was really nice because, normally you fill it with your family and your friends and had someone that didn't know me. So that was a really nice moment.
Yeah. No, I get a little bit of that with my boy. I wrote a book. It's not a kids book. It's like 8 to 12. It's about the Emu War.
Oh, nice.
And I get a lot of emails from people in America who either one asks permission to use excerpts for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Others asking me if there's a study guide.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Americans love it, but, Australians are quite embarrassed about it because I don't know if you know about the Emu War, where we declared war on 20,000 emus and lost. True story. That's probably
I'm looking this up. That's hilarious.
Yeah, look it up, check it out because it is hilarious. I talk about it all the time, but Australia, I think our government is very embarrassed by it because it was an official war.
That is
Um,
so funny.
like the people that served got medals for serving in the war. You know,
You are joking. Oh, that
no,
is amazing.
no,
Have you interviewed someone? Have you met anyone, or is it a really long time ago? Is it
no.
like
Well,
a
it was 1932.
okay?
Um,
So maybe not.
no, 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 and I don't think they'd want to be interviewed.
No, I don't know why this struck me as something that happened in like the 70s, but I was thinking, I'm
No,
like, maybe this is like
no.
hilarious.
It was 1932, and they went out there with machine guns and fired them into a flock of 6-foot birds.
You're never gonna win. That'd be like on a cassowary. Like, just let
Yeah,
them live. Like, don't fight it.
yeah. Only cassowaries will kill people. That's the
They will. They
yeah.
will rip you to shreds.
No,
Like,
but the only thing that they are scared about, I found while researching all my stuff, pigs. The biggest threat to wild pigs are the biggest threat to cassowaries.
really?
Yeah, up in Queensland.
That is so funny.
Random. Anyway, that
So
was a random
random.
tangent. Brian, do you want to
Uh,
do some question talking?
yeah. Just in relation to, so I'm big on well, Jamie's the writer. I can't do either, but I'm really into art in terms of I love my comic books. I love anything. I want my house to be covered in nothing but just amazing art. So
Yeah.
obviously we don't really get to talk about that much with our normal guests because it's just mainly cover art. But obviously your
Yes.
book being a children's book, there's a lot more art involved. So how did you do you have a particular artist that you use and are going to stick with for any future projects, or how did you go about finding the artist to to bring Amigo the capybara to life?
Yeah, so when you get your picture books acquired, a lot of the time there's sort of a set kind of vibe that the publisher already has for their list. So with that, they actually found the illustrator who's Amy Lee. So she goes by Cookie Chookie. She's another New South Wales resident.
Awesome.
Um, and I loved her art. Actually, it was funny because when I originally thought of Amigo, I was imagining maybe a bit more cartoon. But then
Yeah.
when I saw Amy's artwork, I'm like, no, that's perfect. It's so picture book style, like actually hand illustrated. Because a lot of the time now, like to be able to produce at such a speed that is expected in publishing
Yeah.
for picture books, Procreate is a big part of illustrators' sort of wheelhouse, I guess, now. So it was amazing to know that actually Amy hand drew and hand
Yeah.
did every single picture. And that sort of happens, once it's acquired, you can sort of, as an author, say, this is my idea, but really it's up to the publisher. And you kind of just got to trust that they know what the market needs
Yeah.
and wants in terms of illustrations. And so, they found Amy, showed me. I was like, oh my God, amazing. Like, yes, she'd already drawn a capybara on
Oh
her
wow.
Instagram. And so it was kind of like perfect, which was really great. And so, she went along and did all of them, which is great because a lot of the time in picture books, like, yes, the writing is important, but the kids are only really interested in the illustrations. Like they're what they're looking at. They can't read the books. They're going to be flipping the pages based on that look. And also you're buying it based on the illustration style. So it is one of, if not the most important part of a picture book too. So she was given the manuscript. And then I don't even know if I had some. I think I had like a couple of notes on some pages. I was like, this is my idea. Like the end, I said, oh, I'd love it to look like a silent disco, like to be a silent disco, because that's sort of how they compromise in the end. That was like my one thing that I sort of had. And I had some like vibes, but not really an idea of the illustration. So Amy came back and had all of it drawn out, just sketched against the text. And then I was really lucky that I got to see that, because as an author, you don't normally get to see a lot of those stages. Like you might get to do a couple of comments, but I think because I knew a lot of people like from the publisher house, like we knew each other. And I think it was good that they sort of trusted me to be able to give an opinion without overdoing it, because sometimes it can be quite a lot. Like you don't want to change it so far away that you're causing the illustrator a lot of stress to have to redraw it all. So once the roughs were approved by the publisher and like I got to maybe put in a couple of notes, then they do the full colors. And then there's like maybe a couple of rounds there just to tweak faces and make sure it's all kind of in line. And yeah, that's sort of how it happens. So for me, really, like I've got one just here. I didn't have a necessarily like my own sort of idea, but I just think the colors.
Yeah.
I sort of had a color palette from Pinterest that I found of Fiesta color palettes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'd love it if it kind of matched that. And Amy just kind of matched it. Like I don't even know if she ended up seeing that, but even something like that where it's very much like a party.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, lots of fun. And I have a favorite spread, which I'll show you in the middle of the book. And that was something that I sort of could imagine in my mind, but I couldn't really articulate. And then when it was done, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, which is kind of when it all goes wrong in his performance. And it's
True.
limbs and words. And actually,
Yeah.
Amy had illustrated the tube,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
That's even remnants of like the old comic book stuff with the words, you know.
Yes, a lot of that. I actually did a writing course this year, and we had actually Molly Meldrum's brother come and teach us, which was
random.
so random. I only found out at the end when they said his name, and I went, and then I looked it up, and then lo and behold, it was his brother. Talk about how you do your readings and things like that. That every word can be like onomatopoeia if you just say it in the right way and you emphasize the words. And that one I love because it really exemplified that, like the way it was written, the way it kind of fell across the page. And exactly, that's what I think comic books do so well. And graphic novels now, more and more. Yeah.
So do you have any more adventures for Amigo to be going on, or is it just a one and done?
I have a second book in mind. So I was really meant to write it earlier, but it's been like the craziest year and I haven't done it yet. But my main idea is that Amigo is renovating his burrow. So he moves in with Miller for a week. And of course, she is super stuffy and very neat. And he is the messiest roommate in the world. And so there's going to be a little bit of argy-bargy going on there. And just a fun another little story. Like I think I probably should rhyme it again as well. Like I was thinking about it going, maybe I won't rhyme it, but I think I'll just keep it in the sort of wheelhouse of rhyming. And I'm excited for that one. I have to write it. I've been thinking about it for months. I'm like, just got to put the pen on the page and get started.
There's a lot you can do with it because now you can have Amigo and his neighbor having fun. And then they annoyed their next neighbor, and you get this, and then suddenly the whole street is just raving, you know, like
exactly. And when I do school visits, I sort of at the end I go, okay, guys, like, what's an idea? Let's like write a story together. You know, like this is kind of the main beats of how you write one. Let's write one. And some of their ideas are actually hilarious. Like the other day, it was let's do a pizza party, and the pizza splats all over Miller, and they have like a sleepover, and you're like, yeah, actually. There are lots of adventures that you can have once you've sort of got your core characters right.
Yeah.
A lot of silliness can happen because in picture books, you really don't have much room to have a nuanced personality. Like your characters are very much like a trope. So it's kind of good because then you play on those and it's like, actually, what can they do? What would go wrong with these very like type A personalities and extroverted it's quite easy to sort of play with.
Yeah. And kids have the best ideas. I've mentioned this all the time on the podcast. There's this guy from America called Ethan Nicole. He's a comic book artist. He wrote he was 29 years old, found out he had a half brother who was 5 or 6.
Wow.
And then he went and just did backyard playing with his new brother. Yeah. And then he started drawing every story that they were playing into a comic book. It ended up being a comic book called Axe Cop.
Oh, cool.
And it is it's clips on YouTube because it became a TV series with Nick Offerman. Ron Swanson
oh my God.
did the voice.
Amazing.
So it just exploded. But it's once you know that it's written by a 5-6-year-old, it's the funniest show. Like it makes no sense, but it makes sense at the same time.
Yes, that's what's so amazing. And I think it's because they allow their imagination to go. Like they actually aren't afraid to have that's a big part that I talk about when I do these visits is like, don't feel like you have to make something perfect or something right or something that someone else wants to read. Like just have fun with your imagination because exactly that's where you're going to have these moments of magic If you constrain yourself, that's where you lose that. And I think we're good as adults of, shutting ourselves down before we even get started because we think no one's going to like that, or it's not good, or no, I'm wrong. And it's like, actually, if you just leave that all behind and just do anything, something good will come from it. Even if it's not your first idea, it might be your third idea, but it came from that moment of allowing yourself to actually have fun in the moment.
Yeah. I think that's at least what I get a vibe that a lot of people will once you become let's say an author or even a children's writer, that sometimes you just think about it too clinically and you forget to have fun.
Yes, and that's the thing. You think too much about what does the market want. Like I think when I was in the market, when I was actually in publishing, I didn't write for myself because I was like, no, that's not going to fly. That's this, that's that, la, 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 la. It was only really once I left that I started to let myself just have fun. Be like, even if no one picks it up, I still enjoyed writing it. Because I used to try and write and then I give up and go, oh, nah, no one will care. It's not worth my time. Like I'm not going to invest in something that isn't going to become something good. Whereas if I actually, now I'm just sort of letting myself play with things. And like even that middle grade I wrote about Antarctica, like I pitched it around and I haven't heard back, but I was like, do you know what? Even if it never goes anywhere, I really enjoyed the process of actually writing a chapter book and being able to imagine a new world. That's almost good in itself. Whereas before I would never have said that. I would have been like, oh, it's not going anywhere. Don't bother. Whereas now I'm like, actually just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with your craft.
Sorry, just something popped into my head again. Back to UK sitcoms. Black Books. You seen Black Books?
Yes. Oh, forget it.
You know where I'm going with this?
Oh my God. When they make that
the kids' book, yes.
It's actually good. Like if you hear them talk, I'm like, that's actually so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a favorite. Okay, that's up there.
Yeah.
Forgot about when you said sitcom, I went straight to the US. All my UK sitcoms. Can't beat them.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's cool. Got any more questions, Ryan? We've been pushing it. We're pushing the length.
No, I'm good.
Which is
I'm
fine.
good.
Which is fine.
I've asked my art questions and
your
my
art questions. Yeah, cool. So, do you see yourself going away from children's books at some point and maybe write a novel? Maybe a dark, gritty, Amigo. He's
on the streets.
he's he's a gruzzled, in the zombie apocalypse. I don't know.
Yes. So actually, I started writing a YA novel last year, and then I applied for the Faber Academy and got in this year, which was really great. So I've been writing that this year. It's still within that sort of wheelhouse. Like sometimes I have ideas and then I think I'm not the right author for them because I think that my writing style, I haven't got that nuance to make them really gritty. But I do think that maybe that's in my future. Like once I started to do the YA, I thought, oh, actually you can really push yourself. Like once you learn and you keep growing with it, then you can kind of go that way. So like I would love to write, like I love a murder mystery. I just love them. I would love to write a murder mystery. It'd probably end up being a bit of cozy crime. Like, let's be honest. I don't think I have the ability to make it gritty, but I would love to do something like that in the future.
Probably best it's not Amigo, though.
Yes, maybe not Amigo. Maybe.
I mean, there's this old show from the 90s called Dinosaurs, and it was again a sitcom. And it ended really morbidly, So, well, they're dinosaurs. What happened to the dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah, true.
And that's how the series ends. So sometimes it's not good to do that.
Sometimes it's nice to keep it in its space. Like I'm really enjoying writing picture books at the moment. Actually, I've written a few that have never seen the light of day. They're still in the drawer. But it would be great to, I'd love to finish this YA. It's the time thing. I know you're probably the same with your writing, like getting the time to sit there and write something that is more than like, say, well, this was 300 words. Do you know what I mean? Like more than 10,000 words. Yeah. It's such a effort and you want to perfect it. I'm a real perfectionist with it. So this YA, I've been in a course that literally pushes you to write all year and I've probably written like 20,000 words of like 80. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. But hopefully soon. Yeah. How about you? Do you have any writing coming up?
I'm all over the shop because I wrote a kids book, like Letters from the Emu War. Then I
Yeah.
wrote a series of novellas, which I just put under one cover, which is zombie apocalypse, romance, comedy, kind of
Love that.
like a rom-com.
Yeah.
Where basically was I got the idea because 11 years ago I threw a medieval themed Bucks party for my best mate.
That's amazing.
So then the idea
I love
obviously said, it just came to me and said, what would happen if the zombie apocalypse happened at a medieval themed Bucks party and everyone had weapons? So I took that idea and just kind of blew it out of proportion. Like, it's over exaggerated everything.
It's such a good theme, though. It's so good.
Yeah, and then it turned into, like, it's called Bucks Night was the first one. And I'm like, well, there's a bridal party. What are they doing? Hen's Night,
What's going on there? Yeah.
And then the last one's called Wedding Night.
Wedding night. Yes.
So it's all kind of. It was originally a screenplay, so I had it all worked out, and I kind of just finished that last month or whatever. Just released it, but then now I'm working on a science fiction.
Oh, awesome.
Sci-fi. Again, I'm mixing genres because I like to be creative, So it's like science fiction, bit of paranormal, maybe even a touch of fantasy. But this is the big one because it's going to be an actual novel. So,
and they're big, like fantasies, hundreds of thousands, like 100,000 words.
I'm going to steer less from fantasy and more science fiction. So I might aim for about 70, 80,000 words. I'm not going to do a tome.
More achievable. The other, like my partner only reads fantasy, and his like the chunk of the books that he has. Because how do you get through those? Like, I don't know. My attention span's not great. I don't think I could sit through it all. Like, really.
Yeah. I'm a slow reader because at the same time I read and then ideas start flying.
Yes. And I love a whole read to write because you're learning nuance of language and like obviously people that have written, then they're reading and writing. So, it's like you're growing with it. I think it's really important.
Yeah. You reading anything at the moment?
At the moment, I actually, I had it down here. I've got a book to start, a YA, because I'm still getting kind of inspo for my own thing. But I've sort of taken a bit of a break this month. Like, I'm just sort of giving myself a moment because we had the anthology was due start of the month for the Faber Academy. So I was like kind of all steam ahead finishing stuff for that. And so this month I've given myself a bit of a break, but I do have a few that's like on my long list to read, but all kind of YA rom-com sort of vibes, because that's sort of where I'm writing into. So I'm sort of studying a little bit. The one I most recently read was The Great Garden, which I loved. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I started reading The Road.
Oh, cool.
What's his name? Cormac McCarthy, I think it is. It was
yes.
There was a movie based on it with Viggo Mortensen. And I can't put it down to be honest. It's really good.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I started I'm doing more like getting into watching at the moment because I'm trying to give myself like brain space. And I just started the Reacher series.
Oh wow, cool.
Have you seen that? Oh, so good. That's a great one. I'm on to series 2 now.
Yeah. Ryan will talk a lot now because he loves Alan Richardson.
No, I do. But no, I've seen the first season. I know there's another 2 to get through, but they're just even just the first episode. You just got the it's really weird because you've got Tom Cruise that plays him in the movie, and he's like this tall, and then Alan Richardson who is like this tall that plays. But I 100% got into it just from the first episode where he's rocks into town. They put him in jail, and he just he's like a hulking man. And I need to watch the other couple of seasons, but definitely a good show to watch.
Well, it's just been renewed for season 4.
Awesome.
Oh, good. Because I've just finished season 1. I loved it. Exactly. And I think he plays Reacher way better. Like that was a really good adaptation from the novels. I was like, I'm happy with this. He's really good. And I thought it was very cinematic, very into it.
You know, he was a Ninja Turtle, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It was Raphael in the Michael Bay movies.
Oh my God. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I see that.
He hated it, but he was a really good Raphael. But I hated those movies, so
he was good.
And then you want to go back even further. He was Aquaman in Smallville.
Yes.
Yes, I looked up because I was trying to place him because I'd seen him before. I'm like, what have you been in? So I looked up
Yeah.
his IMDb, and he'd been in some really random thing. He was in like a weird one of those like comedy things. He played. That's where I picked him. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the episode where they go
Yeah.
back in time and it's Hitchcock and
Yes,
Scully.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
because I was like, why do I know your face?
Yeah.
And then I saw that and I clicked. I'm like, that's why, because I love that episode.
Yeah.
I've watched that one like a million times.
He was in New Girl as well in one episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love New Girl too. And
Yeah.
so I saw that. Yeah, New Girl, another one.
Yeah.
Sorry, we could keep talking all day.
I know. Welcome to the sitcom podcast.
Yeah.
Look, I freaking loved season 2. Have you seen season 2 of Reacher?
No, I haven't started it. It's the next one on the list.
Oh, dude, message me as soon as you watch that opening scene. I'm just like, the first 5 minutes, I'm just like, yes.
This is
like
amazing.
They really, really lean into the I'm a mammoth of a man.
Yes.
They even have him across from, like, he goes to an op shop to buy some clothes or something. And the girl behind the counter, I swear she's like under the desk. Like, she's that short. And he's just like, they had to zoom out to really fit them both in the camera.
I love that. The behemoth. They're just playing in. They're like, we know what they want.
Yeah. Do you watch, because I just finished watching The Lincoln Lawyer, season 3.
Oh, I started that a while. I haven't actually rewatched it. It's something I've got to come back to again because it's been a long time.
It's really good. It's a little different from the Matthew McConaughey movie.
Yes.
But I think it's better than the Matthew McConaughey movie.
Oh.
Controversial opinion. Like, I love Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. He's good in everything I've ever seen him in, really. Yeah. It's the accent. You can't beat it.
The Southern accent. Oh,
yes.
right. Yeah.
And no matter what he does, he really leans into it. And I'm like, no, it's good. I like it.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, I just have one more question about Amigo.
Yes.
If this was because this just came to my head, if this was an animated series or a movie, who would you want to voice Amigo?
Ooh.
And who would you want to voice Miller?
That's a really good question because, see, Miller, I'm imagining like really high pitched, really like, that's really difficult because I think they'd need to have a little bit of an accent. Like, we've got to respect where they're from. Like,
maybe Pedro Pascal as Amigo.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, that would be the ultimate, right?
Pedro, if you're listening.
Yes. And maybe like Sophia Vergara.
There you go.
Really play on the accent.
Awesome.
That would be great.
And
that would be fun.
Who'd be the director?
Ooh.
Quentin Tarantino for sure.
Yeah, Quentin.
That's his final film.
He's retiring.
I really love, is it Sean Levy, the one that does Cheap by the Dozen? And he did
Sean Levy did Deadpool.
And
Deadpool movies.
Yeah. And he did
He's done everything.
Museum. I love him.
He did one of my all-time favorite movies with Hugh Jackman, Real Steel.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he did.
He could be the director. I'd be happy with that. Because, when I was little, I loved Cheap by the Dozen. I used to watch the director's cut.
Yeah.
And I just loved him. So, yeah.
Okay.
He can direct
There you go. We'll get on it right away, guys.
Exactly. Write the screenplay.
Start a petition.
Yeah.
A GoFundMe.
Yeah, exactly. Go fund Amigo.
we only need probably a couple million to get those people, but
exactly. Someone can start it.
You never know, they might read it and it might become a passion project and they'll do it for free pro bono for a share of the profits or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they'll buy the rights. Would you ever sell the rights to Amigo?
I mean, if it means that Sean Levy's going to direct it, I would sell the rights.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Why don't you plug yourself, plug your socials? Where can people buy your book and all that jazz?
Oh, yes. So Amy Freund writes on Instagram. There's Amy_Freund_writes. But if you just search Amy Freund writes, I'm sure I'll come up. I think I'm the only Freund going around on there. It's a bit of an unusual name. At the moment, you can buy W online, I think at a couple of independent bookstores as well in Australia. So definitely support them. I think at readings too. Also, reach out to me. Like if you want to sign copy, if you'd like me to come and have a chat, Zoom, person, I'm keen. I'm ready.
If you want an insight into the claw the way
Yes.
claws work.
You want a free show bag, you know where to go. You know who to ask.
Yes, I will be asking for a Ninja Turtle one off air.
Yes, well, I designed that one, so it's the first one I ever designed. So I'll be very excited to get you that one.
Well, we better let you go before this turns into the Ninja Turtle podcast.
Yes.
I'll be late for work.
Thanks so much, guys. I've
All
had
right.
the best time.
No worries. And yeah, guys, you know the deal. thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. We're on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Check out our sponsors, Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns, and me. Don't forget me. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Awesome.
See you next
Thanks,
time.
guys. See ya.
In 1932, the Australian Army declared war on 20,000 emus and lost. It's a part of Australian history that not many know about. Maybe that's because history is written by those who win. So if you want to hear the full story of the Great Emu War of 1932, then check out my book, Letters from the Emu War. Read letters, newspaper articles, and journal entries. With every turn of the page, you will gain a deeper understanding of the life and times of emus at war. So head on over to jabryden.com and grab a signed copy today.